Welcome back to the Press Start to Begin podcast, iconic games and timeless adventures. I'm Pixel Pete.
And I'm Glitchy Gwen.
And we are so ready for a deep dive into a game that's basically like the definition of the first-person shooter genre.
Doom. Yeah, it's not every day a game gets so big, that just saying its name makes everyone know exactly what you're talking about.
Right. Doom. It's not just a title, it's a whole experience.
Yeah.
And what's amazing is it's been around for decades. Different platforms, you name it. More than a game, it's like a phenomenon, really.
Totally. So today we're gearing up, grabbing our super shotguns, taking you on a wild ride through the history, gameplay, the whole legacy of Doom.
Let's fire up that time machine, go back to 1992 when Corrid Software unleashed this demon-slaying beast on the world.
Imagine a small team of developers, totally passionate,
Yeah.
John Carmack, John Romero, Adrian Carmack, Kevin Cloud, Tom Hall, all holed up in Texas, making a game that would change everything.
These guys were like the rock stars of early 90s gaming, right?
Oh, absolutely. They were working on something totally groundbreaking. Back then, 3D graphics were just starting out. Most games were still 2D.
Yeah, I remember those days. Everything was pixelated, side-scrolling adventures.
Exactly. But then Doom came along and blew everything wide open. It wasn't just 3D graphics. It was about putting you right inside a 3D world.
So they weren't just making things look 3D, they were building whole environments you could move through.
Exactly. Doom, it introduced things like verticality, spatial awareness, stuff that was unheard of at the time. You could look up, look down, explore these complex levels, actually feel like you were in the game world.
It's hard to imagine how mind-blowing that must have been for gamers back then.
It was a total game changer. And don't forget the tech behind Doom's 3D engine. John Carmack, he was a programming genius. He came up with techniques like binary space partitioning so the game could handle these complex environments crazy fast and smooth.
So he was pushing the limits of what was even possible, tech-wise.
Oh, totally. And that's what made Doom so groundbreaking. It wasn't just a good game, it was a technical marvel.
Now, Doom wasn't just a single-player thing, was it? I remember all the stories about LAN parties, the start of online multiplayer gaming.
Oh yeah, Doom was a pioneer there too. It let players connect, have these death matches, something that became a staple of FPS games later on.
Those early multiplayer sessions must have been wild. I can only imagine the trash talk.
I bet. But beyond all the tech stuff and the multiplayer, Doom also had a huge impact on gaming culture itself.
How so?
Well, for one, Doom made shareware a thing. They released the first episode for free so anyone could download it, experience Doom firsthand.
So it was like a free trial before free trials were even a thing.
Exactly. If you got hooked, you could order the full game through mail order or buy it in stores. It helped Doom spread like crazy.
I bet it did. Word of mouth must have been everything back then.
It was. And that shareware model, along with Doom's addictive gameplay, the groundbreaking tech, it all created a cultural phenomenon. It was everywhere in gaming magazines. People talked about it nonstop, even made it into mainstream media.
Amazing how a game could have that kind of impact back in the early 90s before the internet as we know it even existed.
It really shows the power of Doom. It tapped into something raw, something that really resonated with players.
And that resonance would keep going through the gaming world for years to come.
Totally. Now, before we get into the heart-stopping gameplay, let's take a second to think about the world when Doom came out.
Okay, set the scene for us. What was 1993 like when Doom exploded onto the scene?
Well, the early 90s were a time of crazy fast technological change, and culture was shifting too. The internet was just a baby, grunge music was everywhere, and there was this feeling of rebellion, going against the grain.
So Doom kind of arrived at the perfect time.
Exactly. The dark, gritty look, the whole idea of fighting impossible odds, embracing new tech, it all fit perfectly with that era.
It was a game that felt rebellious, dangerous, and exciting all at the same time.
Exactly, and that's part of what made it so captivating. It wasn't just a game, it was a reflection of the times, a symbol of how things were changing.
It's fascinating how a game can capture the essence of a whole era. But Doom didn't just reflect its time, it shaped the future of gaming too.
That's right. Its influence is all over games that came after, from the rise of FPS games to how we think about level design, immersive gameplay.
All right, let's dive into the core of Doom, the gameplay that hooked millions, created a ton of imitators. What made it so groundbreaking? Why did it feel so different from anything before it?
Okay, imagine this. You're a space marine, the last hope for humanity, facing an army of hellish creatures. armed to the teeth, thrown into this maze of dark corridors, huge bases, the fiery depths of hell itself.
Okay, that's an epic setup. I'm already in. What was it actually like to play Doom? What made it so unique?
First off, Doom was fast. It ditched the slow pace of a lot of older games, went full adrenaline in first person. You were constantly moving, dodging, blasting demons, searching for secrets in a world that felt alive.
It sounds like they threw out the rulebook, created something totally new.
They did. A big part of that fresh feel came from Doom's level design. The environments, they weren't just backgrounds, they were puzzles to solve. You navigated mazes, hunted for keys, switches, found hidden areas to move forward.
I love exploring in games. That it definitely hooked me. It wasn't just shooting. You had to think, observe, figure out the levels.
Exactly. And that feeling of exploration was even bigger because of the tech limitations back then. Remember, this was before you could freely look up and down, even jump in a first-person game.
Wait, you couldn't jump? That's wild. How do they even design platforming challenges?
It forced them to get super creative. They used things like strategically placed platforms, clever environments, even enemy placement to guide players. It shows how ingenious they were to make such compelling gameplay with those limits.
So limitations can actually lead to innovation.
Oh, absolutely. Sometimes working within limits forces the most creative solutions. In Doom's case, it created a level design philosophy that was fresh, challenging, and rewarding.
Okay, we've talked speed, exploration, but let's get to the heart of any good action game. The weapons. What did Doom offer in terms of firepower?
Oh, Doom's arsenal is legendary. It introduced weapons that are now iconic in FPS games, things like the shotgun, the chain gun, the rocket launcher, and of course the BFG 9000.
BFG, the big friendly gun, right?
While friendly might be stretching it, this thing had enough power to wipe out anything in its path.
I can imagine. But it wasn't just about having big guns. Doom brought strategy to weapon use, which was pretty new at the time, wasn't it?
Absolutely. Every weapon had strengths and weaknesses, and no weapon became useless as you went through the game. You might start with the pistol, but soon you'd be cycling through your arsenal, picking the right weapon for the situation.
I've heard the term gun juggling in Doom. What's that all about?
Gun juggling, it's all about mastering the quick switch between weapons, using enemy weaknesses, maximizing your damage. Like, you might use the chain gun for weaker enemies up close, then switch to the rocket launcher for a bigger demon further away.
So it wasn't just point and shoot. You had to think about your loadout, ammo, the enemies you were facing.
Exactly. Doom rewarded players who mastered this, who could think fast and adapt to the changing battlefield.
Sounds like Doom's gameplay was this perfect mix of speed, strategy, and pure demon-slaying fun.
It was. And its influence is still around in so many games today. The fast action, the focus on exploration, strategic weapon use, it all goes back to Doom's groundbreaking gameplay.
It's wild to think a game over 30 years old can still feel relevant and influential today.
It really is. Doom, it wasn't just a game, it was a revolution. It changed the FPS genre forever, set a new standard for action-packed, immersive gameplay that still inspires developers and thrills players today.
So we've covered Doom's beginning, the cultural impact, the gameplay that made it legendary. But the story doesn't end there.
Oh no, not even close. Doom's legacy is huge, spans decades, platforms, even went beyond games into other media.
All right, let's move through time, explore what happened after Doom took the world by storm, what kind of legacy did it leave, how did the franchise change, and most importantly, is Doom still relevant today?
Well, I think it's safe to say Doom didn't just, disappear after its initial success. It spawned a whole franchise, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. Doom, it had such a big impact, it was only a matter of time before we got more adventures in that hellish universe. And Doom Software, they didn't let us down.
So what came next? What was the next chapter in the Doom saga?
Just a year after the original Doom blew up, we got Doom 2, Hell on Earth.
Yeah.
1994, it took everything great about the first game and amped it up big time.
More demons, more guns, more mayhem.
You got it. Doom 2 made the whole conflict bigger, brought the demonic invasion right to Earth. You weren't on Mars anymore. You were fighting for humanity's survival on your home turf. Talk about high stakes. What kind of new hellish stuff did Doom 2 add?
Well, for one, we got a bunch of new demon types to deal with. Remember the Archvile? That creepy skeletal thing that could bring dead demons back to life?
Oh yeah, the Archvile. Definitely one of the scarier additions to Doom.
Right. And then there's the Revenant, this fast skeletal warrior with rocket launchers on its shoulders. Doom 2 really stepped up the enemy variety, made it more challenging.
But it wasn't just about throwing more demons at the player, was it? Did Doom 2 give us any new weapons to fight back with?
Oh, absolutely. And one weapon in particular became a huge fan favorite, the super shotgun.
Ah, the super shotgun. 2 barrels, double the fun.
Exactly. This thing, it packed a punch, a close-range blast that could obliterate pretty much any demon.
No wonder the super shotgun became so iconic. Pure power, right in your hands.
It was. And Doom 2 also took the level design from the original, made it even bigger, more complex environments packed with secrets.
So more of what made Doom great, but bigger and bolder.
Exactly. Doom 2. Hell on Earth, it was a worthy sequel, really cemented Doom as a major force in gaming.
So what came after Doom 2? Did the franchise keep going with more sequels?
It did. But the next few entries, they took a bit of a different approach. In 1996, we got Final Doom. Not really a direct sequel, more like a collection of 2 megawads, basically huge expansions made by the community.
So id Software was embracing the modding community, giving them a way to show off their creations.
Exactly. Final Doom showed how powerful fan-made content could be, how passionate the Doom community was.
That's pretty ahead of its time. Back then, most developers weren't too keen on players messing with their games.
Right, but id Software, they saw the value in the community, the creativity of Doom fans.
And then in 1997, Doom landed on a whole new platform, the Nintendo 64.
You got it. Doom 64 wasn't just a port of the old games, it was a brand new Doom game made just for the N64.
I remember playing Doom 64 when I was a kid. It looked and felt really different from the PC versions.
It did. Doom 64 had these darker, more atmospheric graphics, plus totally new levels and enemies.
It also had this creepier vibe, didn't it? Like something scary was always around the corner.
Definitely. Doom 64 leaned more into the horror side of Doom, made it more suspenseful.
So the Doom franchise was already branching out, trying different things, different platforms.
Exactly. It wasn't just about repeating the same formula. id Software was willing to take risks, explore new directions.
And then in 2004, Doom took a huge leap, both technically and in tone, with Doom 3.
Yeah, Doom 3 was a big change from the classic Doom style. It traded the fast action for a slower, more atmospheric horror experience.
I remember how hyped everyone was for Doom 3. The big talk was how scary it was.
It was definitely much darker and creepier than the older games. The environments were dimly lit, the sound design was amazing at creating dread, and the jump scares, there were a lot of them.
So Doom 3 was all about creating an immersive horror experience rather than just focusing on the action.
Exactly. It was a bold move by id Software, and it got both praise and criticism from fans.
What were the main criticisms of Doom 3?
Some people felt it strayed too far from what Doom was all about, that it lost the fast action, the over-the-top violence that made the series so popular.
Yeah, I can see how some longtime fans might have been disappointed with that change.
Right. But Doom 3 also had its fans, people who loved the atmospheric storytelling, the intense horror, and the technical advancements.
It was definitely groundbreaking in terms of graphics and tech.
It was. Doom 3 pushed the limits of what games could look like back then. It had super detailed environments, realistic lighting, and some of the most terrifying demon designs ever.
So, Doom 3 was a bit of a mixed bag, but it still left its mark on the franchise.
For sure. It showed that Doom could evolve, try different genres and tones, and still keep its core essence.
And then after Doom 3, things went quiet for a while, didn't they?
They did. There was a Doom 4 planned, but it had a lot of development problems and ended up getting canceled.
That must have been a huge bummer for fans who were eager for a new Doom game.
It was. But the cancellation of Doom 4 actually led to something amazing. The big comeback of Doom in 2016.
Ah, the 2016 Doom reboot. Now that was a game that captured the spirit of the original while bringing the franchise into the modern age.
Absolutely. The 2016 Doom, it was a love letter to the classic Doom games, but it wasn't afraid to try new things.
What were some of the key innovations that the 2016 Doom brought?
Well, first off, it brought back that fast, aggressive gameplay that was kind of missing in Doom 3. This was pure Doom, all about demon slaying and adrenaline-pumping action.
It felt like a true return to form for the franchise.
It did. And the 2016 Doom also introduced this awesome new mechanic, the glory kill system.
Oh yeah, glory kills. So brutal, so satisfying.
Exactly. When you weakened an enemy, you could do this gruesome finishing move and get health and ammo as a reward.
Such a smart way to encourage aggressive gameplay, reward players for staying in the fight.
Totally. And the 2016 Doom didn't skimp on the weapons either. All the classics were there, like the super shotgun and the BFG, but we also got some cool new ones, like the gas cannon and the chainsaw.
The chainsaw, a classic that never gets old.
Right. The 2016 Doom also had amazing visuals, a killer heavy metal soundtrack, and a surprisingly good story that dug deeper into the Doom lore.
It was a huge hit, showed that Doom was still relevant, could compete with the best modern shooters.
Absolutely. The 2016 Doom was a phenomenal reboot, revitalized the franchise, and set the stage for what came next.
And what came next was Doom Eternal, released in 2020. And Eternal took everything great about the 2016 game and just went crazy with it.
Oh yeah. Doom Eternal was even faster, even more intense, and even more gloriously violent.
It felt like Ijika Software had fully embraced the whole rip and tear philosophy.
Totally. Doom Eternal was all about aggression, momentum, never stopping. You were a force of nature, jumping, dashing, blasting your way through demons.
And the glory kill system. It was back and better than ever.
The glory kills in Doom Eternal were a masterpiece. Gruesome, over the top, so satisfying to pull off.
And Eternal also added some new gameplay elements, didn't it?
It did. We got the meat hook, basically a grappling hook on the super shotgun that let you swing around the environment, get right up in the demons' faces.
The meat hook changed everything. Added a whole new dimension to combat.
Absolutely. And Eternal also gave us the Crucible, a powerful energy blade that could instantly kill any demon, even bosses.
The Crucible was the ultimate power trip. Amazing to unleash it and watch demons get destroyed.
It was. Doom Eternal also expanded the story, went deeper into the lore, introduced new characters and factions.
A truly epic sequel that pushed the limits of what a Doom game could be.
Totally. Doom Eternal solidified Doom's place as one of the most iconic and influential franchises in gaming history.
So we've seen Doom go from a shareware hit to a global phenomenon, from classic shooters to modern reboots. But Doom isn't just video games, is it? It's a whole multimedia empire now.
That's right. Doom has gone beyond the digital world into novels, comics, board games, even movies.
I remember that Doom movie with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Maybe not the best movie, but it was cool to see Doom on the big screen.
It was, and even though the movies haven't quite captured the magic of the games perfectly, they show how far Doom's influence reaches.
And let's not forget the amazing community that's kept Doom alive for over 3 decades.
Absolutely. Doom fans are some of the most dedicated and creative in gaming. They've made tons of mods, maps, fan art, and they're always pushing the limits of what's possible in the Doom universe.
From speedrunning to fan-made megawads, the Doom community shows how strong the franchise still is.
It really does. And that brings us to today. Doom is still going strong, with new releases and exciting projects coming up.
Okay, let's talk about the future of Doom. What's in store for fans? Is the franchise still innovating?
Well, one of the most anticipated upcoming releases is Doom, The Dark Ages, a prequel to the 2016 reboot, launching in 2025.
A prequel. Interesting. What can we expect from Doom, The Dark Ages?
We don't know much yet, but the title suggests we'll be going back in time, before the events of the modern games.
Maybe we'll finally learn the origin story of the Doom Slayer, how he became this ultimate demon-killing machine.
That's definitely a possibility, and with a name like The Dark Ages, we can probably expect a darker, more gothic vibe, maybe even some medieval stuff thrown into the Doom universe.
A medieval Doom. Now that's something I'd love to see.
Me too. So many possibilities. And beyond the Dark Ages, there are rumors of other Doom projects in the works, maybe even VR experiences in mobile games.
So Doom is branching out even further, trying new platforms and tech.
It seems like it. Shows how strong the franchise is. Doom keeps evolving, keeps finding ways to surprise us.
It's amazing that a game over 30 years old is still so relevant today.
It really is. Doom is more than just a game now. It's a cultural icon, a symbol of power, rebellion, and that thrill of overcoming impossible odds.
So what stands out to you most about the Doom franchise? What makes it so special, so enduring?
For me, it's how Doom always sticks to its core identity. No matter how it changes, no matter what new platforms or tech it uses, Doom always remembers what it's about. Fast action, intense combat, and that pure joy of ripping and tearing through demons.
I couldn't agree more. Doom is pure fun, and that never gets old.
And looking ahead, it's clear Doom has more stories to tell, more demons to slay, more surprises for us.
Now, before we wrap up, a question for our listeners. What about Doom resonates with you? Is it the feeling of power as the Doom Slayer, the adrenaline rush of the combat, the amazing level design? Let us know. We love hearing from fellow Doom fans. Man, it's been quite a journey going back through Doom's history. From its start as this shareware thing to becoming a modern gaming icon, it's a story of innovation, passion, and just pure demon-slaying fun.
It really shows you how powerful a good idea can be. Doom, it tapped into something that still connects with players today.
And like we've seen, the franchise has never been afraid to change things up, experiment, push the boundaries, all while staying true to itself.
Exactly. From the scary Doom 3 to the crazy glory kills in Doom Eternal, each game has added its own twist to Doom, but never forgetting what makes it so great.
So looking ahead, Gwen, what do you think? What's next for Doom? Will it keep ripping and tearing its way into our hearts for years to come?
Oh, I'm sure of it. With Doom, the Dark Ages coming up, and all the rumors of other projects, the future of Doom is looking pretty bright.
I can't wait to see what id Software comes up with next. And hey, maybe we'll even get that Doom movie reboot everyone's been hoping for, one that really does the franchise justice.
One can dream, right? But seriously, I think Doom is in good hands. The developers, they really get what makes Doom special, and they're not afraid to try new things and push the limits.
As long as they keep that spirit of innovation, that commitment to making a truly awesome demon-slaying experience, I think Doom will be around for a long, long time.
Totally agree. Doom is more than just games now. It's a cultural icon, you know? It shows the power of imagination and how much people love pure, unadulterated fun.
Well said, Gwen. And on that note, time for us to put away the chainsaws, holster the super shotguns, and say goodbye to the world of Doom. From.
Until next time, keep those shotguns loaded and remember, rip and pair.
And don't miss us next week for another deep dive into a classic game. We're going to explore the world of a certain blue hedgehog with spiky hair. Get ready to go fast because we're heading into the world of Sonic the Hedgehog.
See you next time, gamers.
Keep pressing start to begin.